Hey you guys, it's Romaine here for my tour kit rundown with Modern Drummer. This is a brand new Gretsch Brooklyn kit that Gretsch just made for this specific tour. Silver sparkle. I got a 5x14 chrome over brass snare drum that sounds amazing in the studio and in these speakers. A 10-inch snare that I use a lot. Use the contrast between these two. I have this drum very dead. We have a Ratatom, 6-inch Ratatom here. 10, 12, 16 floor toms. And then I got a 14 on this side. All Sabian cymbals. I've been with Sabian since like 1990. They feel like family to me. I absolutely love their cymbals, and I use a lot of different cymbals depending on who I'm working with, what I'm recording, etc. For this tour, I'm using Extreme Crashes, 18, 19, and 16 here. This is an Aero Splash, 12-inch. And then I got two Ozone Evolution Crashes. It's an 18, and this is a 19. And I got two very old, aged groove hats, which are my favorite hi-hats that Sabian makes for a lot of the music I play. In addition to that, I Evans drum heads. For this kind of music, I like the hydraulic heads because they decay a little quicker. So we want a punchy attack. I got the Power Center reverse dot on the main snare and a regular G2 on the 10-inch snare. A custom rack by Gibraltar. I've done a lot of these custom racks. It just works amazing. They look amazing. They're very functional. It's important to me that they look great and they're functional. And to me, there's nothing better than Gibraltar to do that. Very easy to customize them. I personally like to avoid the square racks in front of the drum set. I think the drums themselves are sexy looking. I want them to be visible. So all the racks that I've had fun building with my tech, Brett Grau, and the guys from Gibraltar, they kind of show off the drums as much as it does the rack. So with this particular rack, we use the curved bars that are powder coated black on the bottom, and the straight 1.5-inch tubes, which from a distance look great from the other side of the arena. That was the idea behind it, and the lights and how they reflect that. Another way to customize the rack with Gibraltar, the actual mounting for the Ratatom and the 10-inch tom is on my side of the drums. So facing the other end, looking this way, you just see the drums behind it. But just incredibly easy to customize this stuff. It's with a plumber's tool, really, a pipe cutter that Gibraltar makes. And there's plenty of room for everything here. Latin Percussion, LP, also a big part of what we do up here. Jamal Gomez's monstrosity over there is solid LP. I currently just have the tambourine here, but I use their micro snares and their trash snare and their cajones and their congas in the studio and all kinds of stuff, but I just don't happen to need them on the stage here because he's got it covered. Love working with LP and all their gear. Drumsticks. I got my Vader LA 5As that I've been using forever. I've never switched to anything else. I use them for every genre of music. I can't say enough great things about the feel of these sticks and Vader in general. Also, one of the key elements of my Vader is the stick stuff grips that either my tech or I apply to these sticks that give me a lot of confidence. And the more I sweat and the hotter I get, the better the grip gets. And to me, it's the best grip out there. I also use the acoustics quite often, including on this tour, for some of the softer unplugged things. Some of the mallets occasionally for some endings. I'm very obsessive about my mix, so I put a lot of thought into that. We are playing with some click track and some tracks, like most bands do. So I like to have my mix on one channel here, and then I have my clicks separate. And then this is Enrique's vocal I have separate. So I'm kind of cueing the band here a lot. And if I'm having trouble hearing him, I just turn him up. I tried splitting it up more so I could have my own mix, but it was too complicated. I found out I was mixing more than playing. So this is the best setup that I've ever ended up with. Um, Ultimate Ears with the Porter and Davies seat, for my money, is the best setup. It sounds like a freaking record to me up here. It also helps having an amazing monitor guy, which is Eddie Capo over there. But in general, uh, I've got a great mix. These are UE11s, so they have a low-end driver in it. But I have my low-end drums, the inside bass drum mic, the 2 floor toms, and whatever subs are coming out of the Roland gear, I have going into my drum, the tactile monitor is called, by Porter and Davies. Goes through the power amp. You can also adjust the low-end contour on that. Sometimes if my mix is perfect and I want a little more bass guitar, I'll actually put that in the seat too, just a little bit. And it's the most amazing mix that I've ever experienced. I prefer the Porter and Davies seat over 2 or 3 or 4 18-inch subs in the back. That's how much, because they actually directly replicates the feel of the drum. So the bass drum is staccato and punchy, and the floor toms ring, and you can really feel like you're inside the drum, and it just makes me play much more relaxed, makes me lock in more with the click and whatever tracks we're dealing with. So I've got some triggers around the kit. I don't have any triggers on the drums on this tour, but the brain is a Roland SPDSX, and then I've got a KT10 trigger pedal to the right of my acoustic pedal that I use a lot. Sometimes I double like a sub sound with the electric pedal and move my foot over to the double pedal sometimes to get bigger effects there. I also got a BT1 here that's attached to the rim of the bass drum. Now with Roland SPDSX, I tend to use this just because it's so easy to import sounds. So very often, whether I'm doing this tour or any other tour, I'm getting the sounds from the record or making the sounds myself and importing them into this. So I tend to not use too many stock sounds very often. So, but each song in the set list scrolls down with the program numbers, and it's a lot of different things. I have low end subs on. I tend to put them on the same pad regardless of what program it is, so it's easy to remember. You can kind of play the electronics as they belong in the kit. I feel if you assign similar sounds to the same pad regardless of the program. I also use some effects like reverse sounds, where I use the mute group within the SPDSX. It's almost the same effect if you have an open hi-hat and hit a closed hi-hat on a drum machine. It mutes the open hi-hat. So I would hit this as a reverse sound, and then the snare along with this to mute the sound. So it'd be shka, and it just syncs up perfectly. I also do that with reverse cymbals sometimes. There's a C stage where everyone goes out there. I stay up here, and I might actually switch to a cajon program where I'm playing a cajon sample on my electronic pedal and cajon slaps on some of these pads to sort of embellish what Jamar Gomez is playing out there on his congas. He's a real percussionist. I'm a drum set player, so I do what I can do to help over here. Another thing, I'm the band leader and sometimes musical director of this gig, so I'm often cueing people here. And we found out that I have 2 mics. None of them go out of the PA. They just go to our in-ears. This one goes to everybody if I need to cue everybody. And this one goes to the band minus Enrique if I want to cue them but not bother him. They both have switches on them, so I turn them off and on. And that's something that's also very useful as far as the spontaneity of the show. Us being able to communicate to each other in our inner monitors. Where visibly it looks like we're all just in sync. So that's another great tool to be able to stay connected and also be a little bit more spontaneous than your average pop show where you're just playing one song front to the back. So that's also kind of the magic with Enrique, is he is spontaneous, and so we like to be able to harness that energy and roll with it whenever we can. So that's a big part of the show for us. I endorse Audix mics. The front of house guy who I have mad respect for has his own mic endorsement, but I do have some of my mics here. I also endorsed Solomon mic. So Brad uses this for just the outside of the kick. It's actually a speaker with the cables reversed. Yamaha used to make something similar. Also looks pretty cool on the kit, I think. So I use this all the time in almost every session that I ever do, whether it's in my studio or the studios in the New York area. All have this Solomon mic, so heavily recommend that as well. So Van Romaine signing off. So grateful for Modern Drummer to come send a little love my way and my kit's way. Grateful for all these companies that get behind me, and everyone stay safe out there. Take care.